Hey, it's Michelle Neske, the Posh PA School admissions expert, and I have some breaking news for you. If you have not heard already, you need to listen to this video. Before I get into it though, smash the subscribe button. You know I'm here every week dropping new tips to get you into PA school, become a successful student, and a fulfilled practicing PA. Okay, if you are in the pre-physician associate community, you may or may not have heard this week that the Yale Hybrid program is closing its doors. It will not be accepting applications for the 2024 cycle, and it will be closing its doors due to clinical rotation placement challenges. Now, you can find all of this information on their website if you Google Yale Online PA program, and it will go through all the FAQs regarding this issue. Now, before the program closure, it was on probation. However, they're citing that this is not the reason they're closing their doors, and it really has to do with the challenges of being able to place students on clinical rotations local to their area. Now, I will have a couple of opinions on this I'm going to drop on you. Number one, clinical rotation placement is a difficult thing for any PA program, whether hybrid or not, okay? So clinical rotation placement, you have to think about as a whole, the number of preceptors are available, and then the number of students in programs across the country competing for those spots, in addition to medical students, nurse practitioner students, all the things, right? We all need training. So there are a lot of students with not a lot of spots. And so for many in-person programs throughout the country, clinical rotation placement remains a challenge. And many students have to travel for a few, if not all, of their clinical rotations. So I do think that going into any PA program, you have to set your expectations that you may need to travel for clinical rotations, okay? Hybrid program or not. Now, there are only a handful of hybrid programs out there. Does this mean that you shouldn't apply to them or that all of them are going to shut down? No. I think this is a very good case example, and looking through, we can see what we learned from this experience. But you should expect some of the other programs to be having similar issues. And so if you are applying to those programs and they are accredited, which they are, most of them, then I would be very transparent and open about your concerns about clinical rotation placement, and I'm sure they will be too. You also want to talk to students in those programs and see what their experience has been. So that is my recommendation. Do you need to take them off the list? Absolutely not, especially if it's your top program, right? But I would do your research into some of these nuances now that this information has come to light, okay? Again, there are only a handful of hybrid PA programs out there. Now, hybrid, in fact, means hybrid. So yes, the didactic portion of the education is mostly remote with a few immersion experiences on campus. The appeal of these programs is that they cater to an older demographic of applicants who may not be able to move due to social conditions. So whether that's financial, whether they're in the military or have a spouse in the military, whether they're locked in based on their family needs or whatever it is, I do think there's a place that we need to be able to attract these amazing applicants who may not be able to move for whatever reason. However, I will say this, a hybrid program means yes, in that clinical portion, you will be remote and you will have clinical immersion experiences, but it doesn't mean that you're not gonna have to travel for clinical rotations, unfortunately. So that is like any other PA program in the country, okay? So yes, there is an appeal for this, and I think there is definitely a place for these types of programs. It's just being able to guarantee clinical rotation placement in the applicant's local area is going to be a challenge, whether you are in an in-person or a hybrid program. So that is my 2 cents about that. Now, I will say that transparency is really important, and I think Yale is doing an amazing job of being transparent about why they're closing their doors. Does this mean that hybrid programs are going to fail for PA education in the future? No, but I do think that we need to come out with some sort of learning objectives and points from this to see, is there a way to be able to deliver this type of PA education effectively in this format, or should all programs be moved to an in-person format? Again, clinical rotation placement is challenging for any PA program. So I think that's really important to be mindful of as you go into the application process, that you may be expected to travel. You most likely will be expected to travel. I definitely traveled for my clinical rotations. I have precepted students who have come from all over the state of South Carolina and Florida and places like that for their clinical rotations. So I think there is some expectation that you will have to travel. Again, this is going to vary from program to program. And typically when you do have to travel, they do help to arrange some housing placement and things of that nature. Now, I know that for some of the newer hybrid programs, students are generating a list of preceptor sites sort of throughout the country so that hopefully that this won't happen to them going in the future, right? But there's obviously no guarantee. So before you apply to a hybrid PA program, make sure that you have all the information that you need. I highly recommend talking to current students in the program. They're all over social media usually, or attend an info session at the program to really dig into some of these issues. Again, most of these programs do have provisional accreditation from the ARC PA, which is a great thing, which means they are an accredited program. Now at Yale, they're not accepting any new students, but they are gonna graduate all the students that are currently in the program, and they will go on to be successful practicing PAs. I have no doubt about that. So I know it was kind of a blow and it made people really concerned as we are applying, as we're getting ready to apply in 2024. But again, I think there are other options out there if you're looking for a hybrid, but also be expected that you may have to travel for clinical rotations. What do you think? I would love to hear your comments. Drop them below, start a discussion. Please keep it positive, but would love to hear your thoughts on this issue. As always, I will be here dropping new videos for you. So if you haven't, hit that subscribe button. If you are a pre-PA and you're having concerns about different programs or you just want to chat, you can always book a session with me on my website at michellenescu.com. I will see you next time.